Hello, welcome in. I'll be your host. Panic after this took place. Let me tell you something, I'm fucking tired, flipping tired, and just got back from the lake, and it sucked out. Let me tell you, wasn't even nice outside. Now, let me move this so I can see this idiot. You know what? I'll see you in a sec.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Okay. And you might be asking, what am I the host of? Well, that guy. That's me. I was in the forge and I was making a leaf. And what you'll notice here is that I am doing the first couple heats. And what happens during the first couple heats is we are trying to taper down the stem of the leaf. What we started with here is we are doing a leaf head pretty much. And what that entails is hitting the end of the leaf into just a small little nub. And it ends up looking like a penis. And I'm sorry, but that's what it looks like. And there is no point during any of the look at it. There's no point during any of this where you can argue that. At some point it goes from penis to leaf, and you know what? You end up putting veins in the leaf. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. But we are taking heat after heat. We have sped this up to 3 times. You might be asking, why am I talking into the piranha plant? Well, Pete here is my makeshift microphone because I just have this little guy right here. And I don't have an actual microphone because I'm poor. And you should have seen how long it took to set up the fucking green screen. Because man, oh man, the B-roll of this video is not being shown. Unless it gets enough likes, which is up to you. Now then, the hell are you even doing? Sorry, back in character. What am I even doing here? Well, we're still working on our penis. We're still working on that stem. And what we do here for a good majority of this first part of the video is really just try to refine that stem. We are doing what are called reverse-sided tapers. And what you do is you create a shoulder on one end where you have the square shape on one portion of the bar, then you flip it over and you do the same thing inverse so that it creates shoulders on the opposite sides. And what that does is it gives you the ability to keep the bar straight as you are tapering out the piece. I'm not very good at it. So this shit took 16 minutes, and this is 3 times sped up. You do the math. Now, let's let us work. Let's get this cloud. You don't know what that means. I do have a cloud ceiling. It is very cool. Yes, I fell for that TikTok trend a few years ago, and I'm probably not that proud of it. But I am proud of the ceiling. The ceiling is dope. I've got like this nice blue ice orange thing going on, and I fucking love it. Let me tell you. I have these lights on more than I have my regular light. But now that I have the 3D printer that just murdered something, I left for 2 days, come back, spaghetti. What do you do? What's even going on up here? Sorry. Let me, oh yes, still making the stem. Can you believe it? It's been a minute, and we are still making the stem. But, one thing we talked a lot about in the Forge stream was the fact that this thing heats and stays heated longer because when I originally learned how to forge, it was in the middle of winter. And the piece would always cool very quickly. And so I would get like 5-6 hits, and I'm a beginner at this point. Still a beginner, but I've had a few leaves in my day. I had a couple of leaves fall off the tree, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, we are still hitting that stem. And this is interesting because I originally would watch videos of this and I would see people that are able to hit it in a speed fast enough to keep it heated a little bit longer. This forge was actually one of the first times where I got to witness that firsthand. And I really enjoyed getting to actually see what it was like to do it. One thing I notice, I am very inaccurate. My hammer blows suck. I'm not a hammer brother. This guy would not be impressed. You're not impressed. But as we learn, and if the forge ends up being a very good thing that everybody likes, we will continue to do these, and maybe one day we'll do another leaf and compare it to that one, because I just put it up in the garage and it's holding up my scissors. Ask for a video or photo, not a video. Idiot. Anyway, we are still working the stem. As you can tell, we have just gotten it to the point where we've got a decent leaf head, and the stem itself is getting a nice shape to it. We still have like half material to cut from there, but we are making progress. And before you even bring it up, I know we're 5 minutes deep. But I know the goddamn anvil is too high. I know it needs to be like here. I understand that. But as you can tell, we're on ghetto rig, okay? We have a $30 stand underneath us, a piece of plywood underneath that, and one single chain held with a bungee cord. We're roughing it out here, okay? The forge behind that, I have in an old grill, and the weights underneath is this nice little dolly rig that I made, and you can roll it around the garage all nice, so I can move it out of the way for my wife to park in the garage. Very thoughtful. Anyway, and then I've got some fire bricks being held up by the posts that are actually off my bed. Fun fact, you see how skinny that stem's getting, though? We are very proud of what is happening behind us. Look at that. Dude, bro's moving that hammer, and I'm very proud of him. Dude, this is only 3 times sped up, ladies. Wow. Anyway, we are still working the stem. We are at the point now where the stem is actually going to start cooling way too quickly. And I would say that sucks, but at this point, I was actually comfortably starting to hit it a little bit harder than I normally would. And it's one of those like confidence things is how I'm feeling about it. It's like every time I start to get a little rhythm going or I start to hit a little harder, that's when I randomly just fuck it up. I'll hit something, it'll smack it right off a course. It completely ruins what I was doing, and then we gotta waste 2 more heats fixing my mistake. And again, this is all part of learning, I guess, but at what point do we stop saying, check out my hammer, and start saying, check out my piece? Sorry, my bad. We are still working this piece over very well. The little sperm leaf is becoming a very healthy young feller. And soon we will flatten that leaf head and start to move into a little bit more of the fun stuff. I actually like the part when we get to the leaf head itself, because we end up getting to use some tools later that I'll talk about, which I actually got to build myself when I was first kind of starting. Can we also just talk about how handsome this guy is? That guy's lost a lot of weight, and I'm proud of him. But we got more work to do. We're actually about 10 or so away from the goal, so keep up with us on if we ever get there, because the calorie deficit sucks. Ooh, did you see that? That is starting to look round. We actually got to the point where we are now no longer a square bar. As you start to taper in those ends, you get to the point where you kind of decide how thick you want your stem to be. And one of my tendencies is to keep the stem too thick, because what I had a lot of during winter was stress fractures. I'm really pounding it here because I was sick of how long it was taking. And I actually think we're starting to move into the leaf here. We're starting to move into the leaf. We got our little spearhead tip here. And what you'll notice is we kind of screwed up the end. Oh well. Every leaf has character, that's the point. But here's the nice thing. We also have gotten to the point where the forge is hot enough to actually keep that leaf hot long enough for us to put little etchings in it, which is the tools I was bringing up earlier before I lost my train of thought, because I have a lot of stuff happening in the video behind me because it's 3 times speed, and this is our first take. We're not doing another one. It's late as shit on Sunday. We just lost a leaf. The callback's crazy. Anyway, let us see what our friend is doing back here. Excellent. Excellent. That leaf is starting to develop very nicely. I think we're going to be getting to the point where we're using the tools that I was going to tell you about. And those tools are a couple of chisels. You can use chisels once you get it to a certain temperature, and you can actually hit veins into the leaves. And then once you hit those veins into the leaves, you can actually start to hit little spines into them. I think I'm using the hammer now. I can't tell for sure. Let me just check the teleprompter. We're using the cross peen. The cross peen has a nice little flat end, kind of. It's rounded still, but it's a nice flat end that gives you this nice leaf texture. Then you can use the chisel, come in behind it, and you can smack that hoe enough times to where you get this nice leaf shape that has a nice leaf vein to it, and then it has a little bit of texture. Then you go upside down with it and you smack it a little bit to round it out, which gives it a little bit more of a natural feel. And then we work on curling the stem, which we are going to start getting into. But now, as you can see behind me, we have now moved to the end of the anvil, which has no spring to it because we're using a plywood anvil. We are poor. Don't forget. We spoke about this. But we are hitting the chisel on the end. And because my anvil is too tall, we have to do this the long way, because normally you'd shove it between your legs and you would smack it this way and it would be much easier. But we don't do easy here. We do the hardest way possible because we jerry rig everything together, because that's how it's done. We DIY it until it works or get hurt in the process. But we are now moving on to the bowling, is what I like to call it, when you smack the end of it to give it a nice round shape. I love that we got to the point where I was showing every so often in this video, because it's got this nice, look at how far we've come feel to it. And when it's really sped up like this, it really makes it look like I know what I'm doing. I don't. The amount of times I said, oh shit, during this forge was incredible. But it was really nice to get back in there. Oh, we're finally ripping the stem off. So we've gotten the stem to where we want it, and we've gotten the leaf to where we want it, and now we get to do the fun decorative part where you make the stem all twirly. And what I did for this was I made a leaf hook. My wife was in stream that night. She had the brilliant idea to make a leaf hook, and now it holds up my scissors. Another callback. Not bad for a first timer. Trash. Anyway, matter of fact, junkyard. Anyway, we got a nice loop going into the leaf. Again, we're thugging it. I've got 1 tongs and a bunch of pliers, and we're just ripping and a tearing. So, ripping and tearing. And then you got to get all finessey with it, because it gets to the point where like certain parts are where you want them, but other parts are bending funny. So then you got to get the players all in there funky, and we're all just doing this weird speed dance. But at the end of it all, we get this nice, cool little hook thing that I got to the point that I was sick of looking at and sick of messing with. So we said, fuck it, get it out. And now we slowly get to this nice little point where we got this nice spoon-looking leaf thing. We're going to show it in a second, I think. Here he comes. Get the fuck over here. Can you believe this guy? Tired of his shit. Let me tell you. Fucking mean to me. Give him a moment. Now, please take your time, sir. It's not just everybody waiting. Oh, that's a 3 in a row where he doesn't even show us. Does he even care? No. 3 in a row with nothing? Come on. Do I hear 4? Is Buddy out of his mind? Almost burnt hand. Oh, here he comes. This motherfucker. Okay, Buster. I'm starting to think he doesn't know what he's doing. That's 4 in a row. Do I hear 5? Do I get a 5? Do I get an extra wing in my 4-piece? Yes, I do, baby. Oh my God. What a dirtbag. What a dirtbag. Okay. All right. He's talking shit because at one point this hook just turned into a nightmare. I had it set the way I wanted it to. It looked beautiful. I was ready. I was like, we're like 2 heats away. And then one heat, it just all of a sudden unfurled. And I was like, what the hell? And then it took like 3 more heats. And I don't even think we showed for a 6th time. Wow. I must have been embarrassed. That has to be it. Now, see, I'm even showing you my back. I've even got my back to you. I think I'm about to show you, though. Oh, there it is. We ended up getting it until it finished. I think now that I'm thinking about it, I did decide to just keep going until I got it to the point that I wanted it to be at and then send it that way. But 6 times, man, we could not have been that interesting. Here we're putting beeswax on it at the end. This is to seal it so it doesn't rust. It also kind of gives it this nice blackish silver texture to it. It looks so awesome. I absolutely love how this turns out. That was not a very good shot of the leaf. We're going to bring it back for a 2-piece. This guy's an animal. He sucks at his job. Let's see what you got for the final look. What a beauty. That bad boy holds up my scissors, and that is what it's all about, folks. We'll see you next time. Love ya.